From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Wednesday, May the 17th, 2017. The Times of Israel reports that U.S. Special Envoy Jason Greenblatt will arrive in Israel tomorrow in preparation for U.S. President Donald Trump's visit next week. Citing reports from Israel's Army Radio and Channel 2, the report said that Greenblatt was coming to Israel to iron out some details ahead of the Trump trip and will apparently meet with Israeli and Palestinian officials in Israel and the Palestinian Authority. President Trump also spoke over the phone to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu last night. Meanwhile, new U.S. Ambassador to Israel David Friedman spoke to the daily Israel Hayom in an interview published today about prospects for peace talks between Israel and the Palestinians and the role of the United States. He said the U.S. does not have a demand for a freeze in Israel's building in the settlements, and that President Trump will not be bringing a specific plan or roadmap for the restart of talks when he comes to Israel on May the 22nd. Israel's President Reuven Rivlin welcomed a delegation of sheikhs from Jordan to Jerusalem today. The visit follows a tiff between Israel and Jordan regarding comments made by the Jordanian government after one of its citizens stabbed an Israeli police officer in Jerusalem a few days ago and was then shot and killed by that officer. Jordan called the stabber a martyr and condemned Israel. Israel responded in outrage, saying that just as they condemn terror in Jordan, Jordan must too condemn terror wherever it takes place. After meeting with the Jordanians today, Rivlin wrote on his Twitter account that we must seek out that which we share in common and not that which divides us. The Israeli president also met with the foreign ministers of Denmark and Costa Rica at his residence in Jerusalem today, discussing regional challenges as well as opportunities for cooperation. A number of gravestones were knocked over at another Philadelphia area Jewish cemetery. Philly.com reports that 5 headstones were discovered toppled off of their bases at the Adath Jeshurun Cemetery in the Frankfurt neighborhood. There was no graffiti or other signs of vandalism. This took place yesterday, and Philadelphia Police Lieutenant Dennis Rosenbaum said it was obvious that the headstones had been deliberately knocked over, and they had collected fingerprints and DNA evidence from the scene. Back in February of this year, you might recall that some 175 headstones at Philadelphia's Mount Carmel Cemetery were toppled over. A reward for any information on that incident is still in effect. And the New York Post reports that a teenager was arrested last night on suspicion that he was involved in the fire that significantly damaged a landmark synagogue this weekend. As we reported to you yesterday, the Bet HaMidrash HaGadol synagogue in Manhattan's Lower East Side burned for several hours before firefighters were able to get it under control Sunday night. Authorities do believe the cause of the fire was arson, and surveillance video is said to show 3 teenagers running away from the synagogue building shortly after the fire began. Israel's leading center for geriatric and psychiatric care opened a new expanded medical pavilion. The Herzog Medical Center welcomed the new space at an official ceremony today. The pavilion includes an underground section built to withstand the impact of missiles and provide protection from other attacks. It will also be the first hospital in Israel designed and built as a green hospital with the highest international LEED rating, the rating system for energy and environmental design. A new exhibit exploring the history of the menorah opened in Rome this week. Menorah Worship, History, and Legend is a joint effort and the first of its kind between Rome's Jewish community and the Vatican. The president of the World Jewish Congress, Ronald Lauder, was in Rome for the opening and met with Italian President Sergio Mattarella on Monday at the Presidential Palace. Lauder said of the exhibit, which features 130 artifacts, "We see this as a continuing manifestation of our deep friendship with the Catholic Church and look forward to future projects and joint efforts." The exhibit runs through July the 23rd. And cyclists from Italy and from Israel paid tribute to an Italian cycling champion who risked his life to save Jews during the Holocaust. Gino Bartali smuggled messages from the resistance and false documents for Jews in his bicycle, saving hundreds of lives. Bartali, who died in 2000, was recognized in 2013 posthumously as a righteous among the nations. And for the second year in a row, members of the Israel Cycling Academy, along with Italian riders, retraced one of Bartali's routes from Florence to Assisi yesterday to remember and honor the Holocaust hero. And taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Wednesday, May the 17th at 7 o'clock, it's from the Aleph Bet. At 7:30, remarks from Larry King at the recent Jerusalem Post conference, where he was honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award. Followed at 8 by a panel on religious pluralism at the conference. At 9, Mark Golub sits down with Reform Rabbi Uri Regev and Modern Orthodox Rabbi Mitchell Wahlberg for a discussion of the way in which the Orthodox chief rabbinate in Israel impacts Israeli society and American Jewry. That's on L'chaim. At 10:30, it's Kosher Movies. And coming up right after this newscast tonight at 6:30, it's Thinking Out Loud with Micah Halpern. And that's the JBS News Update for Wednesday, May the 17th, 2017. I'm Teisha Bader.